Every Christian at some time or another will be called judgmental. If it hasn't already happened in your life, just give it time. Eventually it will. Many homosexuals will say, "Stop judging me," or they might even go so far as to say, "Judging is wrong." What I find most amazing, though, is that a lot of them will also quote from the Bible, Matthew 7, verse 1. They'll say, "Judge not, lest thee be judged," which is sort of funny if you think about it, because many of them also claim they don't believe the Bible, so now why all of a sudden are they quoting it? And what is even more interesting is that they ignore verses 2, 3, 4, and 5, which make it very clear that what Jesus is talking about, what Jesus is forbidding, is the practice of hypocritical judging. That is also stated in Romans chapter 2, verse 1, where it says that we are not allowed to judge when we ourselves are doing the same kind of things, or perhaps even worse. But Jesus did say, however, in John chapter 7, verse 24, that there is such a thing as a right kind of judging, or a righteous kind of judging. So, the fact of the matter is, we all make judgments every day, whether we want to admit it or not. We're making decisions about what to do or not to do, or what to say or not to say, what's right and what's wrong. So we're making judgments all the time. But when someone says to me that you're not supposed to judge, or that judging is wrong, that's really what I would call a self-defeating argument. It's sort of like somebody saying there's absolutely no truth, no absolute truth. What they are in effect saying is that it is absolutely true that there's no absolute truth. Well, that becomes its own truth claim, but you can't have a truth claim if you claim there isn't any truth. So that's a self-defeating type of argument. Likewise, with regards to judging, when homosexuals say that we are wrong to judge, when they say that we are wrong to tell them what's right or wrong, well, they're doing the same thing. They're judging that it's wrong to judge. They're judging that we're wrong about the subject of homosexuality. They're judging that the Bible is wrong. They're judging that we're hateful, or something along those lines. In other words, it goes both ways. So the point is that there is a correct kind of judging, and there's an incorrect kind of judging, or a right or a wrong type of judging. And the funny thing about it is that many activist groups, those who are heavily involved in the gay agenda, or the gay movement as I call it, not every single homosexual, I'm not talking about all of them, but many of them tend to be the worst offenders with regards to wrong kinds of judging. For example, they like to engage in stereotyping. We all know what that is. They will point out groups like the God Hates Fags groups, or they will point out Fred Phelps in the Westboro Baptist Church, or just recently on the David Pacman website I saw a little video there that talks about how it was a Christian or a preacher or somebody saying that if they had a gay child that you should beat it out of them. So what are they doing? There's an implication that they're making there. They're basically saying that they believe all Christians are like that. You find the worst case examples of people, Christians, people who call themselves Christians, behaving in a very bad way, and then you imply that all Christians are the same way. So you find the actions of a few, and you condemn and judge the whole group as being exactly the same way. Now, honestly, it may make you feel good. It may make you feel superior, morally superior, but it's a wrong kind of judging, and it doesn't really prove your point. Even worse, they will engage in another kind of judging, even a meaner type, called name-calling. They like to call us anti-gay, homophobe, bigot, and those are the nice names that I'm mentioning. This is the rated G version. Well, here's the funny thing about that, to begin with. I have relatives, very close relatives, on my side of the family, my wife's side of the family. We also have friends and more extended family members, people who we know and love and care about who are gay, and nothing could be further from the truth with regards to calling us hateful. We do not hate them. We love them. We care about them. We're not afraid of them, or we're not anti them or against anyone for that matter. So it makes no sense to say those kinds of things. It's really kind of doing the same thing they say they oppose, only in reverse. Sort of like the Black Panthers, who practice reverse racism, or somebody who calls himself a Christian and then turns around and kills an abortion doctor saying that they did it because the doctor was committing murder. But what sense does that make? Because they're actually committing murder too as well. So I totally condemn that kind of a thing. Or I just recently heard about Dan Savage, on his anti-bullying campaign, then turning the tables and bullying people, calling Christians names, making fun of them, disparaging the Bible, and so forth. So they're really doing the exact same kind of thing that they say that they don't believe in. But ultimately, when we're talking about judging, the correct kind, it's probably better to call it warning, teaching, instructing, or pointing people in the right path. A real good example of this is found in Ezekiel chapter 33, where it compares the Christian, the believer, to a watchman on the wall. Now, in the ancient days, many cities had walls around them. The watchman would station himself around that city, watch for attacking armies or some impending danger, and then it was their job to warn, so the people could get prepared and they could get ready for the danger. In the same way, the Christian is supposed to see themselves as the moral watchman, pointing out the impending danger associated with homosexuality or any sinful behavior for that matter. Now, in Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 8, it also tells us that if we don't warn somebody and they end up dying in their sins, not only do they die for their sins, well, we are also told that we are held accountable, that their blood is on our heads. So it is our moral imperative. It is our charge. It is our duty and the command of God that we warn people when they are in harm's way. So in other words, the best way to end this is by saying, consider yourself warned.